Hi everybody, Ford here from Son of a Stitch, and welcome to another episode of SonovaStitchToob. Today I'm just going to answer the frequently asked question of how to keep your fabric from coming unraveled or fraying while you're working with it. If you've ever done a large and time-consuming project like my Son of a Stitch Along hooked on Sonics, you've probably encountered the problem of the weave coming undone in your Ada. The conventional way to deal with that problem would be to use a serger, which will wrap a stitch all the way around the edge of the fabric and keep it from coming unraveled. But a serger costs a few $100, and I don't have one of those, and I'm not going to buy one for just this particular purpose. So I figured out how to do it with my regular sewing machine, and I'll teach you how to do the same so that you don't have to spend that money either. So this is the sewing machine's regular standard foot. It's labeled as foot J, and it's what you use for most of your straight stitching, but we're not going to use that. Instead, we're going to use a specialty foot called an overlock or overcast foot. It's labeled as foot G, you can see right here, and the thing that's different about it is it's got this little bar in the middle. It's also got a wide stitching area because this is a wide stitch. And that bar keeps the fabric from bunching up. There's also this little spring guide right here that holds the edge of the fabric right underneath the stitching bar so that it'll be in the right position. So we're also going to need to set the sewing machine to use the overlock or overcast stitches. Those are numbers 6 and 7 on my machine. You can see this little one that looks like a heart monitor and this little one that looks like a bunch of serif W's all lined up. So when we set the machine to 6 or to 7, you can see it tells us we need to use foot G. And that's the overcast foot that I showed you. Now you need to leave these at the designated width that they call for. It won't let you change them, but you can change the length just to make it go a little bit faster. And since this won't be a load-bearing stitch, it just keeps the fabric together, it's fine to do that to save some thread and some time. So I'm just going to go ahead and change out my presser foot here. I'll remove the standard presser foot. You can see that's foot J right there. Get that out of here and replace it with foot G, that overcasting foot that I was telling you about. If your machine didn't come with one of these, you can get it online for under $10. This is the fabric that I'm going to be finishing right here. You can see that it's already started to fray a little bit, especially down here on this side right here. But you don't need to worry too much about that because the stitch will just grab all of those loose threads and hold them in place, so don't bother with trimming them off. I'm going to go ahead and get started right here, but the sewing machine is super loud, so I'm just going to put some music in here instead. You do want to start with a couple of locking stitches. Mine uses a press button for that, but then after that we can just go ahead and zip through it. I'm going to speed this up. That's done, I'll just go ahead and trim my thread ends here and show you what we've done. This is the fabric that we've just finished. You can see we've got these zigzag stitches that go back and forth over the edge of the fabric, but that bar kept it from bundling up. And then we've got these straight stitches here that hold it and keep it from fraying. Alright, that's it for today's episode of Son of a Stitch Tube. Thank you for joining me. You can find my store at sonovastitch.etsy.com. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/sonovastitchxs or my Instagram at sonofastitch. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time.